and cheeseburgers. I don't know. I like a lot of different things in life, but I don't just talk about J words all day, every day. I have a fully comprehensive life.
I like chimichangas. I don't talk about chimichangas, Wisdom.
Me gusta chimichangas también. Mucho gusto.
Chimichangas. Chili Rihanna.
Taquitos dorados. I like steak. I like lamb chops. I like everything.
Some birria.
Vegan stuff.
Quesadillas. It's almost like I'm Mexican. I'm practically Mexican
Did
here.
you just say vegan is the best?
No,
Oh my God.
no, that's not what I said. Vegan is the best.
Oh, bacon.
Oh, okay.
Oh, bacon.
Wow.
Jesus.
Holy shit.
Bacon.
You didn't much
Bacon.
That's
Bacon.
amazing. Vegan and bacon.
Bacon.
Bacon. I love it.
vegan? No, that's a fucking
Bacon.
Hey, T-Robs, I want to invite you.
I also understood vegan. I also understood.
T-Robs, I want to invite you to New York City. We're going to pay for you to come stay at the Holiday Inn. If you'd like to come to Manhattan, I'd love to show you the lobby of a hotel I know.
Yeah, you mean New York?
Do you know what it's like in Rikers? Maybe we could introduce you to Nora.
I think that he will be there at some point.
He and Nora don't get along, so don't worry.
Yeah,
Not yet. Sounds like a match made in heaven.
That's why I'm
No,
Or in a
Tim
psychiatric
Keep up
ward.
with the bag.
A match
Tim
made in
doesn't like
psychiatric
Nora.
ward.
He's
Tim
blocking.
doesn't like women.
So we're just gonna use the word.
He's blocking her for like a year now. He doesn't fuck with
Exactly.
Nora. Yeah.
There's so much in common, though.
That's usually a sign of secret love. I'm just saying.
No, T-Robs
No, he
respects
actually He
boundaries.
actually thinks that Nora is crazy.
No, T-Robs likes to establish boundaries.
I think that Tim will also have an incident at some point.
No, he's not that. No, he's not crazy.
If I would
He's
say to
obnoxious.
him about Nora,
You can say
if I would tell you about,
he's
See, this
obnoxious
is
about
like
Jews, but he is not
if I would
crazy.
tell you, if I would tell you about Noah, that like I don't know, a month ago, that she will go and chase Jews in New York and be arrested and sent to like a psychiatric whatever, you will also say no. She's a shit, but she's not that crazy.
Yes.
You know,
It was not surprising.
that cannot possibly.
I mean, the reason why he probably dislikes Nora is that he's jealous of her relationship with his
No.
boyfriend Diego.
It's not retarded.
It's the jealousy.
If only you people know, this is code for I'm about to tell you something. I am the one that told Issa because I knew before any of
That's
you.
right.
And I told Issa before all the rest of you
And I was the one to tell Jeff, and then everybody knew.
So,
Well, it takes one to know one, Tim, I guess.
I'm in. That's because that's exactly.
Amazing, right?
Yeah, actually, she was the one like, yeah, there's no team, this is not Nora, like she speaks different, and she looks different.
It's Nora.
Like, no, look at her Facebook, look at this, look at that. It was like, shit, and he's right. Right.
Well, in those days, they had like, again, takes one to know one.
Right.
So wait, why didn't Diego respond on X?
Someone else, you also have to be there.
Why did Diego what?
Why didn't Diego respond to Nora Bandura, the Princessia, on X and, try to calm down the passions?
I mean, it's pretty easy to rock, no?
I'm just saying she wrote a pretty good essay, declaring her love. I love you, Diego. I love you.
Oh, really?
You didn't see the link in the video of her with her Madonna moment wrapped in the sheet,
Daniel,
showing the driver's
check
license?
check out
At home,
check
in from all of this?
You're not going to believe it. This is like actual documentary movie. I mean, this is Lifetime. I mean, this is the story of Diego.
Aw, that's sweet.
What did Diego's wife have to
Years
say
and
about all
years on Clubhouse. I'm recording them. They meet, finally. They embrace in love.
We could call the movie Diego's Wives.
That's a separate thing where she's up close. She's interviewed to get her side of a story. I mean, she's the unforgotten.
Yeah, but we will have to talk about all his wives.
Right.
All he's got more than one.
Can you please repost the link to the video on X?
One of her
Her journal?
The video that
Yeah,
I
the
sent,
the journal video with the telephone numbers. Yeah.
Let me look for it.
Journal video.
Because some of you may not have seen this, but this is the completion of a love story. We are finally in the final scene. This
You're welcome.
this is Shakespeare. This is
You're welcome. You see, you see how in the end, hold on. You see how in the end, the 2 hours I spent this morning reading this were worth it?
Wait, should I read it or was it not worth it?
No, it's a video, Jacob.
I know,
Don't read
but you
anything.
gotta read the video.
I don't know what you're talking about, but you're gonna be 3 weeks now on the bootcamp.
No. The ones that I posted before was the journal.
Let me post it in the chat since everybody's so lazy.
You
Yeah.
can apply for MSc.
Yeah, I said at first I said 2 weeks, but I think you deserve 3.
What the hell did I know?
You can file for how do you call it?
An exemption, but he has to make points.
Yeah, appeal.
Nah, she's a dictator. She's a dictator.
No, appeal it.
No, I said you can appeal, but she will not take
Doesn't mean it.
Yeah, it doesn't mean
Okay, there it is. There it is, wisdom. Edmund.
Edmund's looking for a date.
No, I just really like roasting Diego because, if you've spent, a year listening to him and Nora talk about nothing, this is really just the culmination of the movie. So I'm just so happy to finally be rid of it. This is like my out processing.
Oh my God.
The movie had a happy ending.
And yet Edmund thought I was making it up.
I thought you were literally like, creating Shakespeare on the spot. It's very sad, but at least she's in Arkham prison in the psych ward. So, maybe she'll get the help and therapy she'll need. But what do you think the therapist will be like in the psych ward as you're talking to Nora and Nora's telling her about the genocide and the therapist is like, oh my God, you're right. I agree with you.
It would be like Harley.
The psychiatrist will be Jewish. She'll have room.
Yeah, exactly.
She'll be screaming, no! It's just like a Batman cartoon. No!
That was so loud. Holy fuck.
Now, Nora, you have to take your medication. Time for your medication, Nora. That's what we should do. We should take that movie with, what's this? One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and put Nora's face over Jack Nicholson's body. And then Diego, that would be a funny mashup.
So who's funding the movie for Diego's wife?
We'll also take a screenshot of T-Rebs. Oh, that would be very
Can I
funny.
be the colorist? You're hired.
Of course, you're the only one.
No, we don't know anyone who's been proud of
No competition here.
by default. Does that make you feel better? Yeah.
It's funny because it's cool.
Am I the only Guatemalan you guys know?
Yeah.
Yes, and that's one to manage.
Besides JP.
Oh yeah, JP. That's true. Well, but he doesn't count.
Yeah, we also multiply you, so.
You know, JP doesn't count.
And we know JP's through her, no? So,
You what?
we know
Yeah, although it's ironic that he was the one trying to convincing me to come to Clubhouse.
Oh, really? No.
Yeah, he was the one inviting me. I got invited like, I don't know, probably December 2020 or so. I got the link, but then I just didn't join. And then JP was like, oh, this is this great app. And I'm like, oh yeah, I think I got an invitation. So okay, cool. So I finally joined in March 2021. I I remember looking for the link, because like it was so long ago. And then I came in and he, introduced me to a couple. Well, actually, no, he didn't introduce me. I started going to a room. The first room that I went in, it was called The Weird Ones. It was a woo-woo room where everybody was talking about spirituality and things like that. And I met Prashant there. I don't know if you guys know Prashant.
No.
And I met Prashant and I met Ignacio. And then from them, I started going to other places, and then I met some. We started running into each other, and then we started following each other, and we kind of like liked what we were talking about. Then we started gravitating around each other, and then we started doing all these groups around COVID and all this stuff. And then I met Tim. Tim was part of our little group as well.
Sasha!
I hated him when I met him. I couldn't stand him. And I would always, I hated him because he introduced him into our group, and I'm like, Sam, who's this fucking guy? I can't stand him. And I would fight with him on stage, And then I remember for Christmas one day, I was in the Christmas market waiting for some friends, and I received a wave from Tim, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why is he waving at me? This is so weird. And yeah, we had like a 15-minute conversation, 20-minute conversation, and he was nice, and since then, well, we have been friends. But yeah, I would fight with him a lot. Like I couldn't stand that guy. But then we became friendly.
What's not to like?
It's general demeanor, attitude, and
Other than that,
Yeah, that is lovely.
Yeah, and we would talk about in some of these, like the vaccine rooms, there were, of course, conspiracy theories, because, of course, it's like, well, people controlling the world, and all of them are coordinating, and all of these things that I actually believe. But when we were addressing those, and there was another guy, we didn't actually tie it to Jewish people, and in fact, Gu would come to the room, and he would just start saying, it's the Jews, Gu, Gu? And we would be like, it's the Jews! And we would always like, shut up, anti-Semite! And well, Ashley and I would kick him out. And then, but yeah, we spoke about all of these conspiracy theories, but it was never kind of like a Jewish talk, a Jewish talk. It was like more conspiracy talks, but not the Jews.
Yeah, but all conspiracies end in the Jews.
Yes.
It's where they bottom
Well,
out.
but that's the thing, not to me. I believe in some conspiracy theories. I like conspiracy theories. I love getting into conspiracy theories. It's like going into a mystery movie. But
Yeah, I get that.
end up
If you follow it deep enough, you always get to Jews.
But
I don't know,
why?
dude. I think I have followed that deep.
Because this is where you can get an agreement between everybody,
I'm not saying that there is not the version that they speak about the Jews, but what I'm saying is that it seems forced, it doesn't come organic. It's like they actually try to make it look like it's the Jews. But for example, when looking into the whole banking system and whatever, you have like, I don't have it right now, but I will look for the list. But there are like 20 families, 20 last names, and there is, I swear to you, there's not fucking way that even a third of those are Jews. So it is, there might be Jewish last names, but that doesn't mean that all of them are Jewish. So it's absurd to assign it to just one specific group.
even if they were Jewish, what does it mean? Like, let's say that they were all Jewish.
Right, but Daniel, that's sort of my broader point. Why would, if I'm presuming that there's a cabal of evil conspirators and that each theory is just subterfuge to stop us from getting to the truth, why would my investigation so often end at the Jews? Why isn't there someone controlling the Jews in anyone's theories?
Who controls the Jews, you mean?
Yeah, who's the puppet master? Why is it aliens? It's aliens. Aliens are controlling the Jews.
I'm just saying, if it's we're who would be powerful enough to control
I'm saying there's something.
only extraterrestrial. No, the devil. I think they're talking about the devil.
Listen,
Oh my God, Simon, who are you kidding?
Yes. Who's like
Oh, now that Mike works.
another murder on Clubhouse?
There's a couple of things indicated. One, alienation and helplessness in attributing a secret world power. But what's weird is that the person is feeling alienated from whatever organization and culture and communities they're in. They don't like it. They're opposing, and they're saying, and for whatever reason, they don't want to oppose the main people because chances are there are avenues within their society to focus their aggression against the sitting government, and they're probably so alienated they're against that. That's when they go for the secret cabal behind the thing. Now, here's why I think you stop at the Jews. I think you stop at the Jews because they firmly and clearly function independently. They are never clearly working for anyone's benefit that doesn't also benefit them. They're an endpoint because they act like people that make their own decisions.
That's horrible.
Sorry, I left the phone on one thing. Who acts like people that make decisions? What? Who?
Jews.
Oh.
So basically, it says that every conspiracy leads up to them, but you cannot attribute who they're working for because they are working for humanity, and then it stops there. So this is why they are being blamed. Like with this, each said, building a hospital is a bad thing because it's a Jewish hospital, even though it treats everybody, but it's a bad thing because it's Jewish.
And Daniel, I'll teach you one better. They've made it religious. Christians pass the buck to the afterlife. Muslims pass the buck to the devil in the afterlife. The Jews say, we ate from the fruit. It's on us. So the rest of the world agrees and says, that's right, it's your fault.
I don't know, dude, but for example, it is, and this is something just that I say. I'm not saying that this is exactly how it was, but this is just my own conclusion. But it's what I was trying to explain to Tim before, right? It's okay, Jews, yeah, when you read the history, there were many instances in which they were dispossessed from their things. And so why would you keep investing in things, in material things, if you know that they're going to take it away from you, right? So you start investing in stuff that they will never take away from you, which is your brain, your education, your knowledge. And so then you have
I gotta tell something about this.
Investing in a lot of education, and you have the best lawyers, the best doctors, the best whatever, financial guys, and this is something that it doesn't matter what they do, they cannot take it away from them. Even if they're kicked out from a place, they can start over again, and they already have that knowledge.
Yeah, we invest in
And so,
ourselves.
I'm about to finish. And so my point is that when you create a culture that is so self-sufficient, and that they can do anything, and of course they create their own network because you guys have a very tight network. And why wouldn't you? I mean, you cannot trust anyone because they're persecuting you. So it's logical that you will have a tight network. I have a good network in my contacts and I use them. So why wouldn't Jewish people use their own network? It's absurd. And this is why I tell them, do the same. Imitate the same things that are working for the Jews. I'm done.
One of the things that we have is also our morality, and you see how this morality is now being inversed and attacked. I mean, a lot of things that are now human rights and stuff like this came from perpetuated, I don't know, the Jewish teaching or whatever. And this morality is also now being under attack. So even things that are not necessarily material things can be attacked. And also
it's because the Jews religiously and culturally have accepted upon themselves personal responsibility and free will. The cultures and communities not based in that, right? Islam, which is protected so long as you follow the rules. Christianity, that is protected so long as you say the magic words and accept God into your heart, right? The only people taking personal responsibility and thus constantly and eternally defending themselves from every charge lodged against them because they accept those charges as their responsibility are the Jews. They're being honest. They're responding with defenses because charges are levied against them, and they don't hold by this like divine perfection that none of their actions are beyond question. And because they take that seriously, they improve over time.
But that's what I was meaning. You guys are personally responsible, and it's because of what you had to endure. I mean, you could have easily taken a victimhood mentality. Like, look at the Black community, you know, they will
Or the Gypsies.
victims. But instead, you guys have been like, no, we gotta get out of here. And then you bring up yourselves, you know, and you help the other ones to get up as well. I don't see how that, I mean, I don't understand how that can be seen as wrong. Now, I can understand why people would feel angry about it because of jealousy. You know, it's like, oh, they will just help their own. They will not help me, you know? And it's like, no, it's not that they will not help you, but you need to find your own way.
I've never ever heard anyone complain that Croatia looks out for Croatian interests more than Irish interests, and that makes them evil.
It just goes. It's always been. It's the line in the Purim story, right? There's this strange nation out there who has strange practices.
Yeah, they're weird.
They're weird.
Best to just handle them. Also, I do think that within Judaism, like, they accepted upon themselves a certain curse, but I think that the world is still a bit superstitious, and the world, I think, takes seriously like the curse of a failed state, and they don't like it. After the first state failed, the Jews already started to get a bad reputation. People don't like it when a state falls.
You know what I would like to do? A human experiment. I would take a group of the most
most good human experiments.
Yeah, I would want to take a group of the most failed and miserable people, and take the Jewish and take the Jewish let's say costumes. I don't know, for example, disconnect once a week from all technology, read shitloads.
Yeah, the law code.
And debate. And
yes.
So all the best practices from the Jews. And then take this list and apply to the most miserable group of humans. You know, like a control group. And then put them in that type of protocol for 5 years, and then tell me if these people wouldn't be also successful. I think they would.
The Palestinians.
They would, and that's our basic pitch. Like, all we're saying is that this is a good rule system to live by. That's why we live by it. And the ones that don't disagree with us, but they're still part of our family because of family ties.
Yeah, we could try to do that experiment.
The thing is that we live in a world that kind of adores the underdogs, and no one wants to really help them. They want to keep them there, or like, you know, pity them, or give them welfare, or like not really help them get out of it. This is why we see everybody that is like miserable is like a hero.
100%. But that is part of like being in power, right? I mean, like, you guys lift each other, while our culture is about pushing others down so that you are above.
Isa, it's not as centralized or networked as you think it is. It's very decentralized.
Oh yeah, it is decentralized, but they help each other. What I'm saying is that they have got strong networks, you know. I mean, and you don't have necessarily all Jews thinking exactly the same way. Like you have a colorful a variety, you know, of thoughts. You have lefties, you have right wingers, you have, I don't know, all sorts of ideologies. You have gays, you have heteros, you have orthos.
Lisa, I want to troll you for a second.
Oh.
So what you're saying is lifting people up. Socialist policies are better than the capitalist ones that push everybody down.
No,
You're
that's
becoming
not
a
true.
socialist.
Capitalism is not about pushing people down, and actually socialism is not about bringing people up. If anything, capitalism
You took it too seriously.
capitalism encourages collaboration.
Libertarians always take economics seriously.
Yeah. But anyway, so I don't know what was I saying.
Stuff.
That there's a
We're talking about
why
human
capitalism is
experimentation.
far superior to socialism.
But what
No,
is
I don't know what I
There's
was
a
saying. I
diversity
don't
of
remember.
opinions amongst the Jews.
Oh yeah, you have a variety of opinions, so it's not like all Jews think exactly the same. Not at all. But when it comes to creating a network and supporting each other, they recognize who they are, you know, and they are together. They're not gonna leave each other alone. I think that those practices we should make in our own lives.
But what was the economic model of Moses and the Israelites, or the
Oh my
in
God,
the
it was
desert?
capitalism, wisdom.
No, it's definitely not capitalism.
Yes, it was, because capitalism.
Absolutely not.
Pretty close.
It is. You know why? Because
Absolutely not.
capitalism.
Absolutely not.
I
Capitalism
think Kenneth
is
disagrees with you.
capitalism is the natural human action.
So, okay, so
Capitalism
I
is not
don't think-
engineered. Capitalism is just
I'll say it
human
like
behavior.
this. I'll say it like this. At least according to the Torah, the Torah is not against making money, but the Torah is very in favor of social and governmental aid and assistance to those that have less.
The poor,
To the
Yeah,
poor,
but the poor-
and even more, wait, and even more, there's mandated every 7 years remission of debt. And there's a mandated every 50 years release of slaves. This is not a capitalist structure.
and 10% to the poor from your earnings.
Yeah, it is.
But it is not obliged.
Yes, it is.
No, oh, well.
That's the whole point. It's an obligation.
I encourage charity. I mean, like, I think everybody.
No, but Lisa, you don't understand. No, but you don't understand. It's not a choice in the tradition. It's a mitzvah. It's a commandment. It's required. It's obligatory.
To be clear, though, socialistic or communistic would be if the king or the Sanhedrin exercised direct control over all the fields and appointed the officers that oversaw that. Whereas that's not true. There was tribal authority, and they would maybe have say it, but that's like a family delineation. It seemed like it went by inheritance to different regions. I would say that it is mostly capitalistic with a debt forgiveness schedule. I do agree with you that there was a welfare system. That's very clear. That they had an expectation and systems by which to accept and distribute charity for the poor. But the day-to-day commerce was very clearly left to capitalism, and there is a crime of not having just weights and measures. So they had no, and the minting of coins was also limited. So it was pretty clear that they wanted clear measurements that were free trade based on whatever they produced. And then the social welfare was a separate system. And the debt forgiveness was a schedule, which, by the way, I should highlight, aside from existing in this current capitalist system with bankruptcy, has not always been utilized in capitalist systems, but is very clearly utilized when there is a conquest. Very often, sometimes kingdoms would lose their sovereignty over a region because of the outstanding debt that they held, which they could no longer supply whatever benefits to the outlying farmers, who would then switch sides to inviting armies, who would then cancel the debt that they owe to the crown, and then start a new kingdom. A debt forgiveness model was in part to keep the people happy, to not have too big of a debt burden. But that is still capitalistic, just to have a debt forgiveness model. You know, to put it in macroeconomic terms, it's the opposite of providing a stimulus. You simply forgive the debt. It's much more efficient.
So we need a little socialism, but not a lot of socialism.
Yeah, but you need the socialism to be obligatory. You don't leave it to just like the good feelings and the altruism of individuals. You must make it obligatory.
You could just
That's the Jewish wisdom there.
And if you just put it on a schedule, like people will be nicer to the whole world. They won't even know it because it'll be planned, right?
That's right.
You'll give out different types of debts within the 50-year cycle, and at the end of the 50 years, I know it seems weird. All these annoying little debts I could have had 30 years every single day.
It comes out.
But after 50 years, every single person on the planet owes nothing. That's what you get if you stick to the schedule.
And the scheduling actually is really important because the way you're going to land in year 1 is not the way you're going to land in year 6. And so there were even protections put into place to solve the credit crisis that may exist in year 6. If in year 7, the debts are released.
You guys must have created the word
Financial planning.
Did the Jews create the word amortization?
No. I think that's like French or something.
To the credit.
Oh, we lost one, so we were being too socialists? Too much
Which word
socialist?
did you say?
It's a joke.
Amortization.
What is that?
It's a schedule it's a calendar of payments for like a 30-year mortgage or on a loan.
Also, in the Jewish style of debt, they didn't usually have payment schedules. They had more like, this is what you owe, and this is when you have to pay back by, right? You'd have until like sort of the end of the debt season to pay it back. But, you know, you'd still have debt hanging over your head, which was not good.
Well,
being indebted was worse than being poor.
I owe this debt that they're collecting on me from 15 years ago. It doesn't even show up on my credit report. So they revived and petitioned the court to revive the debt. But only in Abraham Lincoln's state of Illinois can you do this. But in other states, they can't petition to revive bad debt outside of that 7 years. So it does come down to the statutes, and each state is different.
Mm-hmm.
Point is, fuck socialism.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Yeah. Fuck fucking socialism.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you can kind of make the theory for infinite financial expansion of the financial supply, because if you just keep kicking the can down the road forever, it can work out. Because in many ways, you could never get the expansion that we have without essentially fiat currency. So it's just the devil is in the details, meaning that there will be negative outcomes, but you would never have been able to accelerate the state of mankind into the now where we're at without essentially pieces of artwork or pieces of paper, for activity. I mean, everyone has been literally hypnotized with pieces of artwork or paper. So I'm just saying that it's possible that the way things are now, it would have been impossible if we didn't have essentially central banking and fractional reserve financial creation, fake money.
Bitcoin.
I think it would have been possible. I mean, like, money just expands with the productivity.
No, but I'm saying if you compare Roman coinage, from the year 50 compared to where we're at in 2024, 2025 with, $400 trillion in US dollar currency creation, if you just total all the world's fiat, you get like 100 trillion or whatever it is, whatever that number is. If you compare that to the gold production and human activity and human expansion, I'm just saying that without fiat, if we were ants, we never would have been able to conquer the world without fiat. It's just a theory, or it's a, you know, an opinion maybe.
I say forget fiat.
I mean, did all the people coming into America from Europe and then expanding west do it all because of gold? I mean, a lot of it was, you know, the ability to transport wealth in paper, you know, paper art or dollars.
But that's not fiat.
That dollars are fiat. What are you talking about?
No, dollars aren't fiat.
Dollars aren't fiat.
What do you call dollars?
If the dollar, if the paper is backed by the gold, that's not fiat currency.
I see what you're saying.
Okay, the paper is a representation of that. Okay.
Yeah, you see, the paper is supposed to be a contract.
Yeah.
That I could go into any financial institution, and based upon the good faith and credit of the United States, I can exchange this for the approximate value of its worth on the contract in gold. So I get like a gold nugget if I gave it the paper.
I get it. But what I'm saying is the decoupling is what has allowed expansion.
Decoupling is when we say no longer can I get gold in exchange for my dollar, but I can get in exchange a whole dollar.
Got it. I'm just saying that it's the theory would be is that we never would have had this massive expansion as a human race globally without the decoupling of the dollar from the gold.
No, you don't need to decouple from the gold for any of that. Like, the value of currency doesn't need to be fiat to be expressed. And it's better, there's good argument to say that it's best expressed when it is anchored to an actual tangible good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because that's how you prevent insane inflation.
Yeah.
Like what we have now.
It gives you a better basis of relativity, and without it, it is inflation and it is manic spending. It is what we've been doing, and that's why we're at $40 trillion in debt.
Well, it's a little bit of gambling because, to some degree, it's saying if we spend more now, there's a greater chance that we will innovate new miracles, and of those miracles, it might make our prior austere, careful planning irrelevant. So it's a gamble. If they do, let's say they get AI and teleportation, right? Faster than light travel and supercomputers. Let's say they get that. Who cares what they owed producing things?
Yeah, but that would be a break in just fabric of reality itself, which is probably not going to happen.
The atom bomb they figured out when they threw enough money at it.
Yeah, but an atom bomb is nothing more than a certain tonnage of TNT or nitrate. So, I mean, say what you want about the science of creating a chain reaction, but it's just a volume. I mean,
what's your how do you view fiat currency? Do you think that it has to be tied?
Fiat currency, it's a bluff.
Yeah. No, I'm saying.
Rudy in the house.
I mean, yeah, obviously.
Ponzi schemes, fiat currency.
Dude, you had me laughing when you were reading Dao De Jing and talking about real estate law. It worked out so perfectly.
But I'm saying, to your understanding of what fiat currency is.
Because real estate's ruthless.
I share the same sentiment.
I can't believe that it's just all day with this. Just
what all day? This has been 4 years, 5 years. It's the same movie for 5 years. I've been filming it for 5 years. I have probably 10,000 YouTube videos now of the same conversation. I think I'm Bill Murray from Groundhog Day. Ned Ryerson? It's the same convo every day. That's why I say when you read Dao, it's like a hack because it's so pure compared to the same conversation every day. It cuts to the chase.
No, fiat just means that the currency is not tied to asset.
No, the currency is not determined by the market value of the
worth what it is.
It's like okay. That's my understanding.
It becomes a pure ticket.
That was my understanding.
And the tickets don't have to be worth.
The one thing I have learned about this app is even remember when I got angry with you and I kicked you to the goo because, my dopamine flared and I was like, you're annoying, I'm kicking you. That's the one thing about this app is you can essentially learn to tolerate anyone and everyone. And so it's like a superpower when you leave, you know, it really is, but you have to like get very comfortable.
I just listen to the most annoying people in the entire world.
Because you can tolerate anybody.
I can do anything.
You can tolerate anyone. Doesn't mean you can do anything, but it means you can tolerate anyone. And then you have to question yourself, like, why am I tolerating this person? You know, why am I tolerating this person's behavior and yelling at me? I mean, it's, you know, it's just like, there is like a destiny thing. I mean, as a server, I was a server, and, you know, there are times where you feel like a ghost, where like you don't even exist to people. It's a horrible feeling.
Right. You're just the slave filling the water.
Yeah, you are the bearer, and they are the pleasure enjoyers. And you're like, can I get any respect or any recognition of my existence as I please you and serve you with delicacies? Can I get a thank you? Can I get an eyeball? Can you confirm I exist?
This is important for me.
So, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to suggest is maybe Kamala, you know, drunk. Did you see the video of Kamala drunk, like giving speeches? It's really kind of, you know, sad and
I
scary.
don't think so.
But anyways, the point, yeah, she was really drunk. And the point is, if she would have gotten into office, she would have spent even more, but the money would have gone to all the wrong places. But I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know why it's difficult, and it's not difficult, to make some basic statistical, probabilistic calculations about spending and the national deficit, and really how you'll have to collapse annuities or pension payments, and people will have to take cuts on their monthly kick from their pensions, etc. If there's no real increase in revenue and taxation, and they continue to spend a lot, you know, coming up with a calendar on when retirees can expect cuts to their Social Security checks is, you know, probably in the works. I mean, if they claim it's going to fail in just a couple of years, and they don't cut spending, I mean, these are just like things that should be out in the open. I don't know why there's not like a summary sheet with the real financial projections of what's going to happen to people who are accustomed to getting these monthly art check payments that are not backed by gold.
Right.
I mean, you can talk to other people on this app who will say it'll be backed by Bitcoin, because Bitcoin will rise to 5 million a coin from 100,000, which seems to me insane and retarded.
Well, the truth is, the way numbers work, Bitcoin could go that high.
Anything could go that high. There's not enough grass in the world to smoke to get that high. It's fucking nothing. It's not a business. It's got no transaction. It's just a storage of value based on collectability.
Okay. Let me express it again in terms of ancient wisdom. What Bitcoin has that all other currencies do not, and makes it valuable, is the ancient wisdom of self-restraint.
Temperance.
Yeah, there's only a limited amount. They mathematically limited the amount of Bitcoin so that their value will naturally go up because the supply is limited.
You're like Elon Musk saying he stores his autism in his huge dick.
I mean, my conception of cryptocurrency, my conception of cryptocurrency in general is that you're basically buying a stock with no company.
No, you're not buying a stock.
No, but that's what it feels like when you purchase one contract or one coin or 1/1000th of a coin. It feels like you're buying equity in a fixed market cap or a fixed volume of shares. And that's the whole thing to me is you're insane if you would ever put more than 1% of your total net worth in Bitcoin. You're retarded. You can't figure out what to do with your fucking money then.
But Bitcoin is simply an asset class. It's a currency. You can hold the same liquidity with it as you can the others. There is a transaction cost, as there would be if you held stuff in pounds or lira or rupees. The value of it is that it's limited. That regardless of what anyone says or wants to do, it seemingly cannot change its terms. And that stability is naturally valuable. It's actually the essential value of currencies, which you lose with fiat currencies because everyone wants to put their hand in the cookie jar.
Well, I want to tie back Bitcoin hypnosis and Jewish hypnosis. If you could go in another room right now and you will have Bitcoin maxis whose whole life is dedicated to making dollars to buy Bitcoins. So, I mean, if you were like a Jewish religious, purist, extremist, or, religious person, aren't you just engaging in a LARP like Bitcoiners? Aren't you just engaging in a mass communication hypnosis? But I would say it's better to be on the side of Judaism and wisdom, which is basically intelligence, versus being a Bitcoin hypnotist. Like, I think there's no value there in terms of like really living a productive life.
Yeah, I mean, don't devote your life to it, but the argument of Bitcoin makes sense. What do you want from me?
No, I mean, I know software exists. We use our fucking cell phones. You don't understand. Anyways, I won't go back to what I just said because it's stupid. But the point is, software is fucking communication. And so Bitcoin, it like what Simon said, there's no business behind it. So you're retarded to think that it's going to rise from 100,000 to 5 million. I mean, maybe if it was at 5,000, I said you'd be crazy, it would go to 100,000. I mean, I'd be eating my words, but...
It's crazy to say it would make it up to 100,000.
My point is just to say that like if I'm investing in like a company like Coca-Cola or something, like what I'm investing in is like the potential of Coca-Cola doing well based off of like the actual products that they're selling.
But you get an EP, you get an earnings per share, so you know that your fractional reserve actually has a yield. But unlike Bitcoin, your fractional reserve there's no yield on that. It's all just more speculation.
When you buy gold, you're planning on scarcity, on that there's not enough of it.
Yeah, but that's...
Yeah, but based off of what, though? That's what I'm saying. Like,
that's based off the fact that somebody's going to buy it from you for more. It's always the same. It's buyers and sellers. It's the fact that you believe there's going to be a buyer in the future.
That's zero sum, then. That's just zero sum. Like,
it's total speculation.
No, because gold actually has use cases. So depending on the market that needs it, I can sell gold. Like, for example, if I say, if I can't wear my jewelry, for example, I say, you know what? Let me just burn this down. There's a guy there's a pharmaceutical company that wants to buy my gold. Boom, I go and sell it to a pharmaceutical company.
Yeah, but they can also have like a cheaper metal.
Yeah, whatever. But my point is that gold actually has a use case. Other than me saying I just want to exchange this Bitcoin for other Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, there is no use case.
And if we're just worrying about ourselves right now, I think that's what we gotta do. We have to be strong enough to worry about ourselves. Oh, he left.
What he wants to do is cause strife and contention.
Okay, do you know what apostolic succession is?
Do you know what eschatology is or ontology?
Yeah, I do.
What's apostolic succession?
What is Gnosticism?
What?
What is Gnosticism and the Gnostics?
There's a different sect of Christianity that was rejected by the Catholic Church, not part of the official canon.
Well, you have passed the soldiers of God test. I give unto thee a sword of Jesus H. Christ, in power and glory shall be yours, Conqueror Joe!
What the fuck?
Rise, Knight Joe, and go and give justice to the realm.
Joe, it sounds like when I talk to people like you and this other dork, it's like you guys feel like you're such a major part of this battle between good and evil in a spiritual realm. Like, are you guys okay? No, I live in reality where I don't think the Bible is inerrant, but I also Joe. That Joe sounds like. I get that, man, but then obviously the dude's a Protestant and he's just gonna pick and choose and cherry pick. Like, it's so dude, is it inerrant or is it there is no inerrancy. It was inspired and it's written by human hand. You have to pick one, dude. Don't contradict yourself.
Earlier, this chick named Princess, who claims to be a Christian, she's always dodgy, super long-winded. She was saying that the Bible is inerrant, but I was asking her about certain stuff, and she's like, well, I'm not really good. I don't really know the Bible. I'm like, wait, but you think it's inerrant? And she just like wouldn't concede that was stupid to say.
Well, the point remains is that the
point remains that some people are incapable of having conversations without using very technical terms and jargon.
Jesus Christ, dude, you fucking cult worshipping fucking idiot. Anyway,
Jesus Christ.
So the point here remains is these people, the Jewish people, they weren't God's chosen people anymore because they couldn't keep the 600 Noahide laws. They couldn't even keep the 10 Commandments. They became corrupted, right? So don't you think that law, if you think it's inerrant, bringing a woman to the foot of your house to have her stoned to death for adultery, you don't think that's a form of corruption? That's a nasty thing to do? Why would Jesus Christ walk up and say, hey, ye without sin cast the first stone to a prostitute that's committing adultery?
I think it's illogical to use something that's 2,000 years old and put today's standards on it. There were laws in 2,000 years ago in the culture that there's a lot of things we're not going to agree with. So
Joe, I'm not taking modernism. I'm not
fit.
Listen, Joe,
2,000 years ago is illogical.
I'm not committing a fallacy here. I'm not committing a fallacy by taking my modern standards and applying it 2,000 years ago. I'm using the standards of Jesus's time.
That was a Tuesday in ancient Jerusalem.
Noah's and what's his name? Moses' time, because Jesus would have been a rabbinic Jew of that time, right? And he's seen these people being corrupted, right? So why is Jesus saying, don't stone this fucking person?
Because Jesus is the super saiyan of prophets. He did it best by getting himself suicided. You know, he reverse engineered the whole thing. He's a genius.
Well, when you don't understand why God wrote the law and what it was for, you'll have a misunderstanding of what you're just asking.
Okay, that doesn't answer my question. So first and foremost, when I rejected this concept, Joe, I rejected this concept of modernism, okay? I'm not making that informal or fallacy. Do you acknowledge that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, thank you. So just answer the question, why would Jesus contradict something that's written in the Old Testament based on stoning somebody to death? If you believe Jesus is God and we're in the new covenant with God.
Is the law. He upheld the law.
Okay,
the Son of God.
So what does that do? Divine mercy and grace,
finish, please. So when Jesus fulfilled the law and ushered in the second covenant, he was fulfilling what we couldn't be. The law was only there to show us how we're not holy. We need a savior. We're sinful.